If you're sitting there completely exhausted after a brutal 10-hour day at the office, wondering how on earth you're supposed to build a business when your kids need your attention and your brain feels like absolute mush, I want you to take a deep breath, because you don't need more hours in the day. You just need a completely different strategy altogether. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you the exact unshakable structure that I use to build a high leverage business in the margins of a crazy schedule, so you can start generating real cash flow before you quit anything. Hey, I'm Isai Rodriguez, and this is Home Business Hustle. If you're a working dad who's tired of being successful on paper but broke on time, then you're in the right place. We don't do the guru hype here. We don't do the laptop on a beach fairy tales. None of that. We just do the work here that actually works. So let's get right into it. So I want to set the scene for you. I want to start off by setting a scene. I want you to imagine that it's 9:15 p.m. on a chaotic Tuesday night, right? The kids are finally in bed. The toys are picked up off the living room floor, and the house is completely quiet, right? So I'm there, right? Or if you're there with me, and my body's telling me to just sink into the couch, right? It's telling me to open up a streaming app, Netflix, whatever, Hulu, and essentially turn my brain completely off until the next morning, right? And for a long time, that's exactly what I did, because the traditional business gurus told me that if I couldn't duplicate a massive uninterrupted or dedicate a massive uninterrupted 8-hour block of pure hustle every single day, they made me believe that I would never make it, right? They made me feel like failure was inevitable unless I sacrificed sleep and ignored my family, right? But when I looked at the actual math of how modern digital automation works, I realized that the entire game has totally shifted. You don't need an 8-hour block of manual labor when you're building digital infrastructure that does the sorting and the qualifying and the presenting for you, right? So what I did is I stopped trying to find these massive blocks of time, and instead of that, what I did is that I started treating my small late night windows like a fine architect treats a piece of high value real estate. Are you with me? So let's break this apart. Let's dismantle the biggest lie in modern entrepreneurship. And it's the lie or the myth of what I call the 8-hour block, right? Look, time blocking calendars are great. It's an excellent tool if you are a single 22-year-old living in an apartment with zero responsibilities. I'm not knocking you out there if that's you, but that's what in my opinion, that's who benefits from those types of tools, right? But if you have a demanding career, a spouse, kids, a family, responsibilities, bills, a full-time job, then your life doesn't move in a neat, predictable set of boxes. Am I right? So if your business model requires you to stare at a laptop for 4 hours straight every afternoon just to see a return, then you've essentially chosen a fragile system that'll collapse the moment your kid gets sick or your boss demands you to stay for overtime. Are you with me? I know you've been there, right? You have to essentially build a business that adapts to your reality, not the other way around. We're not building something that you yourself have to adapt and mold yourself to it. It must mold and work around you, right? Which brings us to the next point, is that when you only have 90 minutes a day to build your business, your legacy, your exit strategy, you cannot spend that time doing maintenance work. All right? Maintenance work is checking emails, adjusting fonts on your website, things like that. Busy work, as they call it. Posting daily thoughts on social media, hoping that someone notices you, right? That is fake productivity. That's majoring in the minors, right? The minor things of business, that business growth and success, right? Those are the little things that you're worrying about rather than the big things that you should be worrying about, right? Instead of majoring in the minors, right? You have to focus entirely on asset architecture, right? What does this mean? Well, this means that you spend your limited time building business assets, permanent digital funnels, things like that, automated pathways that capture attention, deliver value, and qualify premium customers completely on autopilot, right? Because here's the thing, is that once that funnel is built, once you put in that initial effort, time to build that infrastructure, once it's all said and done, right? That funnel stands there, it sits there on the internet, it's working for you 24/7, night and day, morning, noon, and night, right? It's like a robot that's working for you, right? So whether you're putting your kids to sleep, sitting on the, in a corporate budget meeting, reviewing EBITDA reports, right? Your robot is doing all the heavy lifting for you. Are you with me? It's buying back your time. And speaking of time, let's talk about that. Let's talk about time. Let's talk about energy management versus time management, right? Because we're talking about calendar blocking and stuff like that. But here's the thing. The real enemy isn't a lack of time. It's a lack of mental focus juice, if you will, right? That mental focus that's needed at the end of a long day. If you sit down at 9 p.m. without a hyper-specific blueprint of exactly what you're executing at that very moment, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll waste 45 minutes or more just figuring out where to start, right? You have to separate your thinking time from your building time, okay? Plan your exact micro tasks during your lunch break at your day job, so that when you're building, when that building window opens up at night at home, on your off time, you don't have to hesitate, right? You're ready to go. You just execute like a cold-blooded machine, okay? And the last thing that I want you to understand is that you have to master what I call the sovereign hour, right? Here's what I mean by that, is that to win in the thin margins of time in your day, to use that strategy, you have to ruthlessly guard your focus block from the outside world. Have to. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? We're talking about no notifications, no news tabs, or checking your phone. None of that. None of it. Put it away. Leave that, turn it off, turn them down, whatever. You have to treat that 1 hour like an absolute sanctuary, right? Like you're walking into a library where there cannot be any, and I know a lot of people probably don't even know what a library is. It's this huge building where they just hold bunches of books, right? Where you can't go in there and make a lot of noise, but that's how you have to treat it. And if you can string together just 5 highly focused, uninterrupted hours a week, that's less than 1 hour a day, like hours that are dedicated purely to constructing automated digital assets, then there's no doubt in my mind that you will completely outpace professionals who spend 40 hours a week running in that chaotic, unautomated circles, right? Does that make sense? I don't know if it's hitting home or not. Let me know in the comments, and let's pause here for a second, right? Because I want to be completely honest. I want you to be completely honest with me in the comments below. What is the absolute biggest distraction that steals your focus the moment you finally sit down to work on your goals at night? Right? Because that's the time that we have, most of us, right? It's at after hours, basically. I want you to really think about it. Is it Is it exhaustion that stops you? Is it your phone that stops you? Or maybe it's just not knowing what step to take next. Maybe that's what's stopping. Maybe you're sitting there, as they say, staring at a blank page, right? Drop a comment right below, right? I want to know, because I want to know exactly what obstacle that we need to tear down next. I want to know which way can I help you next, right? I want you to stop waiting for the perfect time to start building your freedom. I want you to get into action, right? But first, you need to figure out what your distractions are before you get into action, right? Because there will be no action if you're being distracted, right? Because the thing with the perfect time is that, if you haven't noticed, is that the perfect time doesn't exist, right? There is no such thing as the perfect time, right? So if you remember absolutely nothing else from today's video, from today's chat, from this discussion, I want you to write this down on a sticky note and stick it on your laptop, right? Tell yourself, an hour spent building a digital asset will always, always, always outpay a lifetime of trading your hours for a corporate salary. Period. Full stop. Think about that, right? You don't need a lifestyle change. You just need to install the correct automated machinery in the margins that you already have. That's what you have to do. That's the goal. So if you're ready to stop wasting your evening windows on fake work and want to look at the exact structural blueprint that I use to run an automated, high leverage business without sacrificing my family time, then I've put together a private, shockingly transparent guide that reveals the entire back-end engine, all right? Go to the link in the description below right now, read the breakdown, and see the architecture for yourself, all right? It's your move now, my friend. I want you, the choice is yours, okay? So there you have it, my friends. That's all for today. But remember, information without execution is just a hobby. And you didn't click on this video here because you needed another hobby. You clicked because you're ready to build something that lasts. So go hug your kids and then go do the work. But first, don't forget to hit the link in the description for your free guide. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Let's get to work, guys. Take care. Bye.